Namaskar. Today I am with you with something which is new in the sense that it is not only related to the academic excellence in economics, but something more than that. Whatever I am going to discuss today, that may help you not only in achieving excellence in economics or any subject, but also it will give you more benefit for happiness and create good health in your life. Normally, what we do, we all are teachers and we always want to do something good for the teaching profession so that we may have full life satisfaction or the teaching satisfaction. And for this purpose, what we normally do, that we take care of the academic component of it. In academic component, what we normally do is we have deep knowledge of the subject. When I say deep knowledge of the subject, this means right from the basic concept of the knowledge to the latest development in the field, we take into account, and we always try to keep updated on the subject itself so that we can know the subject in the best possible way. And for this purpose, naturally, we may be understanding different types of theories of the subject, different paradigms, different types of models or anything else in the subject, but we always want to keep ourselves updated for this purpose. And this is what I mean by deep knowledge of the subject. And the second component we always take into account to become a good teacher is research orientation. When I say research orientation, everybody does research, but when somebody has definite orientation towards the research, by this definite orientation, I mean that whenever they should have good knowledge of research methodology, they must be aware of different aspects of the subject, and they try to find out what is right and what is wrong, how it can be developed. So research orientation, by research orientation I mean that either we just change or make some changes on the basis of our scientific interpretation some existing issues what is there in the subject, or we may have some innovative contribution to the subject. And for this purpose again we have to be updated, remain updated in the research methodology, and also not only the research methodology but whatever latest development has taken place here in this subject, we always take care of it. And the third component and very important component is communication effectiveness. Communication means whatever teachers know, they want to transmit it to the students in the best possible way. For this, language is one factor. But not only the language that matters, what matters is how it is being communicated to the subject. Most complex phenomenon, most complex model, most complex theory of the subject, that can be just transmitted to the audience, to the students in the best possible way, and that the teacher is capable of. This is what I mean by the term communication effectiveness. Communication effectiveness, because what a teacher wants to convey, whatever he wants to give it to the student, whatever best knowledge he has, he wants to give it to the students. So these three components, deep knowledge of the subject, research orientation of the teacher, and communication effectiveness, these three are primarily concerned with the academic excellence, and we all take care of it for that purpose. But my friends, one thing I would like to tell you, man and its problems are enormous. Individual is not simple. Behavior is not simple. It's a very complex process. And therefore, if individual is not 100% happy, if individual is not 100% satisfied, in life, whatever academic excellence what you have, whatever academic knowledge what you have, you cannot put it to the audience, to your students in the best possible way. Therefore, the second aspect, I consider it more important than the academic one, or in addition to the academic one, it is better. So if I can put it, I would like to put it in a term, I think in economics you will not find, such things, but I would like to put it economics of health or economics of life, as you put it, or economics of health or happiness, or as you put it, as you feel better. So there are 4 components, there are many components, but 4 on the basis of my studies, on the basis of my long experience in the field as a clinical psychologist, I have found out and I have tested it on different population, and particularly the population of the teachers, that the 4 components, behavioral components, are really important. If these 4 can be taken care of, then a person can deliver whatever he wants to deliver or she wants to deliver to students or the audience. So these are, number 1 is the personality pattern. When I say personality pattern, I can define it in, of course, definitions are many, but the most common and most accepted definition of it is by ARPIT. This is personality is the dynamic organization within the individuals of those psychophysical systems that determine his unique adjustment with the environment. 2 or 3 things are important just to be taken care of. Number 1, personality is the dynamic organization, means it is not static. You have personality, a particular type of personality today, but it can be reinforced and you can get a change in later life or after a few years. So it is not static, it is dynamic. Second one, what is more important is, it's a combination of the 2 things, the personal characteristics of the individual and the hereditary factors. So the external factors and internal factors, these 2 combine together. I can put it this way, the personality in short is a resultant of the interaction of the personal capacities of the individual and its interaction with the environment. So this is the resultant of that. And how it takes place in very simple terms. Whenever any action takes place and if it is positively reinforced, then it is repeated and that becomes behavior. And when something is negatively reinforced, that are stamped out, those are not there, forming the part of the personality. So it can change, and it's an interaction of the 2 things. One is the physical characteristics of the individual, another is the environmental characteristics. And third and most important is personality helps him adjusting in a different situation. Earlier there was a belief that all peoples have the same type of personality. But in later half of 19th century, it was seen that no, individuals are different. 2 individuals are not the same. Even the identical twins, they don't have the same personality pattern because environmental conditions may be different. Therefore, 2 persons cannot be compared in 100% the same personality pattern. Somebody told, if all persons would have acted alike, felt alike, thought alike, personality, the concept of personality would not have existed. Now, this is one aspect, and the important things I already deliberated with you. Number 1 is, it's a dynamic change. If something good is positively reinforced, it becomes the part of the behavior. And the third thing which I communicated to you, that it's the outcome of the interaction of the environmental factor and the hereditary factor that limits, of the individual. And finally, what is important is it helps in adjustment in different situations. Adjustment is very difficult. There are different situations where a person is not responsible, But environment is such a responsible thing that adjustment, a person is failing completely in the adjustment, and that results in many kinds of problems. The second component, behavioral component, I would like to tell you is the stress. There is a definition there, you can see, but if I can put it in one line, the stress is, the man environment fit. Stress is not induced if man is completely fit to the environmental conditions. Therefore, it's a pattern of specific and non-specific responses. An organism makes to stimulus events that disturb its equilibrium or tax or exceeds its ability to cope. Now, every individual has the capacity, different type of, maybe physical capacity, mental capacity, and when environmental demands exceed the demands of the individual and it tax, it creates physical problem to the individual, therefore equilibrium is disturbed. And when ability is not matching with the demand of the situation, then it disturbs the equilibrium and finally it causes the stress. There are 2 or 3 words. Normally people, use interchangeably, but those are different. Stress is a person when not meeting with the demand of the situation because of many reasons, then stress is caused. And there are many physical changes in the body, the brain, hypothalamus and other sympathetic nervous system, all these contribute or they try to meet the situation out of this stress. But all stress are not always bad. There are 2 types of stress in the literature. Number 1, stress may be caused by discrete events with identifiable solution, meaning thereby a person knows why stress has been induced when cause is known. And type 2 stresses are vaguely defined. Person does not know why I am feeling stress, why I am sad, why I am not meeting with the situation, and the cause is not known to the individual. So my friends, type 1 stress we teachers can manage or anybody can manage very easily, because we know that this is the problem and these are the solutions possible for that purpose. If we do it, then we can get rid of the stress. But type 2 stress is difficult, and it is always advisable to meet a psychologist, clinical psychologist, so that they can find out first the cause, because no action is without a cause. When cause is not identifiable, there are many reasons. I am not going into details, but there are many reasons why causes are not known. Then clinical psychologist, he goes deep into it through behavior, through different scientific procedures, and tries to find out the reason, and then only he helps in getting rid of that type of stress. Stress again, very simple. Eustress, distress. Eustress and distress means some type of stress are meaningful, helpful. Suppose we have to achieve a task, then if stress is caused or stress is created, that will help. As for preparing for the examination, preparing for research paper, the data collection, or doing some other work, academic work, going to library and doing it. So this is eustress. And distress is when a person is not able to find out the solution or even the cause or not meeting the demand of the situation, then it is called as distress. And again, another classification is hypostress and hyperstress. This is very simple, less stress and more stress. How stress can create problems? Long-term stress can lead to depression, anxiety, insomnia, eating disorders, sometimes eating too much, sometimes eating very less. There are many cases of this type. Obesity, nausea, ulcers, and other gastrointestinal disorders, fatigue, unnecessary, high blood pressure, diabetes, headache, menstrual and other hormonal disorders in women. One thing I would like to tell you, these days, even in the young age, you will find, blood sugar irregularity, what we call diabetes, type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Just to cut a long story short, I am not going into details to prove it, but simply I would like to say that mental stress is one of the very important conditions of this sugar problem in young age or any other age. Therefore, if a stress is managed, naturally a person will remain always healthy. And the common symptoms, what happens when stress is induced? Headache, unnecessary headache, lack of energy, feeling always, exhausted, lack of concentration. We want to concentrate on a job, but we are not going to concentrate. We want to read something out. We want to go through a research paper, but we are not concentrating. Poor self-esteem, what others feel about us, we are not that sure, they are not feeling good about me. So the poor self-esteem and short temper. So anybody who is the subordinate who comes, naturally it manifests over there. So short temper is one of the three. Stomach upset, this a different type of disorders, back pain sometimes, and moreover forgetfulness. And how people cope? The unhealthy ways of coping with stress, I would like to give you. Smoking, they start smoking for that purpose. Drinking too much, even drinking little is bad, I would say. Yet drinking too much, this is the way of coping, unhealthy way of coping. And not only this, zooming out for hours in front of TV or computer. And TV is going on. What is going on doesn't matter. But zooming out always for that purpose. Withdrawal, from friends, family, and all other relations. Some sort of, aloofness, isolation, what I could say, alienation, that type of feeling that is created for that purpose. To relax, they easily go to some doctors, some psychiatrists, and they say that due to stress, this problem is there. So give me some tablet, so that I can relax. So using tablet for that purpose. Sleeping too much, this is again a bad sign. If sleeping too much means, some sort of stress or some sort of depressive behavior is over there. Avoid, the other procedures, and one most important thing is procrastinating. If we want to do this work, we have to do just now, but we just shift it. I will do it afterwards and something like that. Similarly, there are other things which are available over there, just you can see. So there are only two ways. Number one, either to fight or flight. Two types of behaviors normally people obtain. When a stress is induced, some people, they are adamant to fight with it. And some people, they try to, go away from the situation. And it results in, the cerebrum, the cerebral cortex, as I indicated earlier, hypothalamus, and ultimately sympathetic, parasympathetic system that, does. So simple ways I am saying for you all, my friends, that how to manage it. Number one, fight with the situation. Think what is the problem. You always think how it can be dealt with. And then first thing is, take stock of the situation. Haphazard way, keeping this book there, that book there. If you want that book, then we are trying to search here and there. So naturally, take stock of your environment, not only keeping books and other things, materials, but you see that how your environment can be best way. Then organize tasks, as I indicated. Organize things. What are the things you have to do, perform, and what are the, whenever I say thing, it may be many things, like, the from the social side, from the personal side, from the family side, from individual, from any inanimate things. So things and people, how to deal with people. So naturally this organization is very important for that purpose. This is the second tip for that purpose. And this is more important, whatever whisper campaign is very common. Somebody comes and tells in your ears, he was telling something wrong about you, and you believe it and start reacting to it. Cause of stress is induced. So this is known as Socrates, triple filter test, we say in our way. Number one is, whenever such things are being told to you about you, the best way is ask the person that if you call the person, would you tell the same thing in his presence? You will find that 99% of people, they will say, no, I cannot say, I thought this is important, simply I wanted to tell you, but I don't want to tell it to others, I don't want to come to light, problem is over. But if you don't do it, then in that case, then you see, think on three lines. Are you certain that it is true what the person is saying? It is something good. Should I hear? Should I listen to it? Should I take care of it? And will it be useful to me? If on these 3 points just you consider, then many of the problems of stress that will be over for that purpose. Then again, it's very simple, urgency versus important, something which may be more important, maybe more urgent, naturally taken care of, and just you can have a look at it for that purpose. And most important from my angle is procrastination. Whenever this type of behavior, procrastination is there, then you have to be more careful. And the causes of procrastination, those are already you can see over there, and it somehow relates your capacity to deal with the situation in a way, and that causes stress for that purpose. So what are the suggestions you would like to have for stress, reduction of stress level? Sir, life is very busy. Everybody is very busy. Demands are very high. The physical demands, psychological demands, social demands, all kinds of demands are at peak in this 21st century. Yet, you have to find out some time for exercise. Exercise is very good, and it's a must for that person. It doesn't only help the physical health, it helps also the psychological health. And psychological health means, there was a time when it was said that in physical body there will be a good mental health. But these days it is said that in sound mind the body, will be strong and the body will be fit for that purpose. And there are many psychosomatic diseases, it is due to this region. Therefore, exercise is a must. Then sensory nurturing and warmth. If you feel somebody positively, if you want to see that somebody is doing very good, so show warmth to that, with children, with students, with family members, with seniors, and that helps in body, because there are many glands and those work. I am not going to tell you about the details, but simply that when warmth is there, then many good secretion in physiology that takes place, and that helps the individual. Relaxation, sometimes you feel relaxed, even sitting in the office, in your chamber, for 1 or 2 minutes, complete relaxation. In Hindi, what we say, shavasana, or many other things for that purpose. And imaginary practices, something, imagine, good thing, because imagination helps in getting any achievement. Meditation and yoga, many things you would like to know and you must be knowing. Sleep is again good. Laughter. Whenever you feel laughing from within, not artificial, although it is said that artificial laughing in the, by old people in the parks, they feel better. Yes, they may be feeling better. but laugh whenever you feel from within, and most important is set priorities and say no to unwanted one. See, whenever you get up in the morning, just to think what are the things you have to do. So set priorities first, and what is important, what is not important. This will be done, this will not be done. So don't remain in conflict, rather take a decision, this should be done and this should not be done. And the third behavioral component I would like to put you is the positive thinking. And positive thinking helps to increase flourishing by increasing positive emotions, engagements, meanings, positive relationships and accomplishments. In short, I would like to tell you, positive thinking or positive attitude is try to see good in everything. Honeybee, what it does, it goes to flowers, then collects honey, and honey they are giving it to, it's very useful for individuals, for that the people. And the fly, naturally that goes to only dirty places, and there they collect different types of bacteria and they transmit it to the individuals. So have the attitude of the honeybee. This is positive thinking. No individual is perfect in this world. There are two types of individuals. Of course, any individual may have certain good qualities, but some qualities may not be desirable, may have undesirable qualities. So naturally, try to see in each individual what is desirable and good quality. If you have the habit of seeing the good quality of the individual, naturally that comes to you as well. Therefore, the degree of good quality in you will definitely increase for that purpose. Therefore, positive thinking means just have this attitude in you and always try to see what is good in an individual and try to take it out, follow it, irrespective of age or group or religion or anybody else. Anybody who has good idea or good concept, you try to just accept it. And this results in emotional well-being. You will be happy. Such increased life satisfaction. When emotionally if you are satisfied, then life satisfaction would be more, and positive feelings and absence of negative feelings. Somebody is not doing good, that type of feeling. There are many physiological changes whenever you have negative feeling about anybody. Therefore, you will not be, you will be just free from such problems. In addition to that, psychological well-being, that focusing on fulfillment of human potentials and meaningful life helps in self-acceptance, purpose of life, achieving autonomy, positive relationships with others, environmental mastery and personal growth. These are all very simple. So naturally, psychologically, if a person is equipped, naturally he will be performing in the best possible way. Similarly, not only these two, emotional and psychological, social well-being is also there, and that helps in increasing social coherence, social acceptance, social actualization, social contribution and social integration. So this factor, that is the positive attitude or the positive feeling, and one is more important again is self-esteem. Self-esteem means self-concept, and self-concept means this idea of self constructed from beliefs one has about himself and the responses of others. As I already narrated, whatever good we see in society, whatever is positively reinforced, we imbibe, we stamp in those ideas, and that becomes behavior of ours. So we should be aware of that good quality And then how social response is there, how other people appreciate it. If I am humble, and if it is appreciated by other people, then this is self-concept. If I am not humble, if I am arrogant, and if it is not liked by other people in the society, then it has to be, I think it is a negative self-concept of the individual. So everybody, what he is, he should have or she should have idea about himself or herself, what is good in her or what is bad in her. This is not only the social factor, but there are many things, superego, many things, social norms, values, moral values, these are given different types of society. And if those values I am practicing and being appreciated by the social group, then I have good self-concept. And self-esteem is self-concept plus satisfaction. Meaning thereby that whatever I have achieved, what I am, I know what I am, and if I am satisfied, then it is a good concept. And for teachers it is very important. Teacher has to give something to students. Whatever he has learnt, he wants to give always the best to the students. Teacher and parents, these are only two relations who remain happy when either son or students goes above them, achieves more than that. In no other profession or in no other relationship you will find that type of thing. Even in two brothers, birth order rivalry is there. So this is greatness and importance of teacher. For them, this self-esteem and satisfaction there, that self-esteem should be high for that purpose. It is needed for that purpose. Now, high self-esteem has many advantages. The advantages are builds a strong conviction. Naturally, whatever we have learnt, whatever we have achieved, if it has a strong conviction, because conviction comes only when we think about it positive and negative way. It creates willingness to accept responsibility. When a person is happy, then some more responsibility is given. It's very simple. Would like to accept that responsibility. And it builds optimistic attitude. Yes, I can do it. Definitely I can do it. Nothing difficult for me. And this optimistic attitude is very important for all professionals, including teachers for that purpose, and leads improved relationship and fulfilling life, with colleagues, with students, with family, with society, with administration. This helps in keeping good relationship for that purpose and develops a caring attitude. There is one concept, altruism. Altruism means when somebody takes care of others, then naturally he is taken care of. So naturally that caring attitude improves with this high self-esteem. And then self-motivation and ambitious a person becomes, that a person is having, and opens new opportunities and challenges. That is important for any teacher or any professional in life. Improves performance and increase risk-taking ability. No risk, no gain, it is said. But risk-taking ability everybody doesn't have. If self-esteem is high, then only in that case risk-taking ability one can take, and therefore performance improves in many ways. Helps in giving and receiving both criticism and compliments easily and tactfully. When somebody is giving compliments, people easily accept it. They like praise, but when criticism is there, normally we'll see people react negatively. But when self-esteem is high, means a person knows himself what is he is satisfied whatever he has achieved, then even with criticism he reacts tactfully and he takes the situation in the best possible way. And all these keeps the person in good humor. Somebody said about the properties of powerful teacher: personality, presence, preparation and passion. Of these, passion is very important so far as particularly I am putting it for teaching profession. Of all the qualities characterize great teachers, passion is the most important, as the passion or love manifests itself in the classroom in two ways: love for students and love for the subject matter. It is a tri-force choice encompassing the subject, the student and the very act of teaching. So, these are a few things what I wanted to discuss with you, and it is not difficult to practice. And again, I repeat it, I reiterate it, I told earlier that we have learnt everything in our life, and since personality is dynamic, we can learn to have these habits. With this, some tips, one can improve the health, as I indicated earlier, no psychosomatic problems, other health problems will not be there, happiness will increase, and finally that will result in good behavior, excellence in teaching for that purpose. Thank you very much.